the story every time again.
I know it. We're going to have the story about Sylvester today. I pestered you enough to let me tell that story, because that's my favorite story. I just love that. Sylvester and his mom and dad were mules.
Mm-hmm.
I like mules.
I do.
And they go, and mules and donkeys are like little mules too.
They are.
Sometimes when you ride around, you see a little donkey or little bitty donkeys out in the field, they're so tiny and their little ankles are so tiny, they're so cute.
They
but
are
have you ever
cute.
heard this song? Remember, we used to do row, row, row your boat. Those are things called rounds.
Mm-hmm.
They're so old-fashioned. Everything I know is old-fashioned because I'm old. But, it goes row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Do you know that?
I do.
Okay, you sing that and I'll see if I can come in with it.
Okay. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Merrily, 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 merrily,
Life is but a dream.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is going to be hard. I don't know whether we can do this. There's one called Happy is the Donkey on his way to hay. If you don't go with him, he will run away.
If you don't with him, he will run away.
Donkey, donkey, on his way to hay. If you don't go with him, he will run away. Donkey. Yeah, it's really hard.
It is hard.
And we used to sing that when the kids would come from school, and you try to get the different groups, and you get mixed up about what everybody else is singing. You're watching them. Isn't that fun? See if you can get your mom and daddy to help you sing that, okay? Or your grandma and your grandpa. They probably know it better than I do.
That's a fun one, though.
That was good, wasn't it? And there's another one called White Coral Bells Up on a Slender Stalk. Lilies of the valley deck our garden walk. And that's real pretty too, but that's the second verse, which I don't know. So I guess we better start with row, row, row your boat.
I guess so.
Okay, we'll do that at the end if we get through
Okay.
Sylvester. Okay, don't forget we're going to go row, row, row your boat.
Okay.
Okay, is everybody ready? Wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes and wiggle your shoulders and wiggle your nose. Will you hold the pictures for me? Now, no more wiggles are left, you see, and you can sit still and listen to me. Now, this is written by a very famous man named William Steig, and he also wrote Dr. DeSoto, a funny story about a dentist, named Dr. DeSoto, and he tricks a fox. But it's just lots of fun ones. But this is Sylvester and the Magic Pebble, and it's just my favorite. And I think it's a good one for this time of year because around Thanksgiving, it's coming up, we begin to think about things that we really are thankful for. And sometimes when you're little, you think, I'm thankful for my toys and I'm thankful for my cat. But when we really begin to grow a little bit and stop and really think about the things that God has blessed us with, most of all, we think about the people who love us and family. And that kind of ends up with a good thought about family, even though it was a bunch of mules. Now, I kind of changed this up a little bit because Scooter Mouse taught me to read a book, and then I could do it the way I wanted to.
Okay.
Well, now, Mr. and Mrs. Duncan lived on Oak Brook Hill, and they had a child, and his name was Sylvester. Now, everybody look, you could tell this is an old-fashioned picture. What's missing? Well, I don't see any television. What else is different about it? Miss Duncan is sweeping the floor with a broom. She hadn't got a vacuum cleaner out, or one of those things that goes all around that people name for their sister or their mother. So, and then what is Sylvester doing? Sylvester collects rocks. And he's got them all in jars, mayonnaise jars. His grandma washed them and gave him. See, he puts them all, the red ones in one, the green ones in one, black ones in one. See, he's emptied them all out. He's looking at it. His mom said, now, Sylvester, be careful. Don't you spill in those rocks on the floor. I'll allow to fall and break my hip. Now, listen, be careful, Sylvester. So his mom was sweeping. And listen, something else that we don't do, we've learned is not good for us, is his daddy smoking a pipe. We try not to get in that smoking habit because it's not good for you. That's right. And make you say, and there's old Sylvester. He's got all his rocks. Look, Mama, ain't this pretty? Look, Mama, here's a big old shiny red one. Your Mom said, yes, darling, that's good. Now don't drop those, Sylvester. Make a mess on the floor. Oh, Sylvester just had a wonderful time with his rocks. Now, we through with that one now. Now, one morning, Sylvester got up, and he was off from school that day. They had a teacher's meeting. Teachers have to have meetings, see where they can get lined up what they're going to do. So he said, oh boy, I have the day off today. I don't have to go to school. Mom, can I go up on Oak Hill and collect rocks today by the creek? And his mother said, well, I guess so. You what there now? Listen, Sylvester, come home a little while after dinner, because you don't need to stay up there all day and listen. If you go up there, pay attention, because you know they've had lions sighted up there. Now, I don't know if I would have been Sylvester whether I would want to go up there if they ever had lions at it, because I don't know much about lions, but they are hungry.
They're scary.
Now, I'm going to show you what happened. Sylvester went up there. Oh, he was having such a good time. He said, oh, it's a pretty day. It's a pretty day. The sun is shining. It's a pretty day. Now, he got to looking at rocks. And see, Scooter Mouse picks these pictures for me. And all of a sudden, he found a little round red one. He said, oh, he put it up in his hoof, and he said, whoo, boy, this is really pretty. God gracious me. It looked almost like a marble. I think when I first found it, it was marble, but it's really a rock. And while Sylvester was so busy looking at that rock, so tickled over it, it started raining.
Here we go, a storm.
And the cold rain come down on him and come running down his neck. Now listen, by his mind, he's holding that rock, and it's in his hoof there, and he said, he shook his big old head and his ears, shook the water off him. He said, I wish it would quit raining, and I want you to know it quit raining just like that. It didn't slowly show us like that. And, you know, it just was like you turned the faucet off. And Sylvester's smart enough to know that wasn't quite right. See? So he says, it's fair and pretty. And it was cloudy, pouring down rain. And I said while I was holding this rock, I think a lot of people call it a pebble. I was holding this pebble, and I said, I wish it quit raining. And it just went, and it quit. I'm going to make a experiment. He called this an experiment. He said, I'm going to make me this experiment, and I'm going to see what's going to do. So he set it down, put his big old donkey behind him on that rock and sat down. I wish it would rain. Started pouring down rain. I wish it would quit. And then the truth dawned on Sylvester. He had found a magic pebble. Whoa! I've heard about magic pebbles all the time. I ain't never found one. And it is my lucky day on the teacher meeting day that I was off. I found a magic pebble. I'm going to have so much fun with it. I will just do all kinds of things. First of all, we'll get Mama a new washer and dryer. She's been with me to washer and dryer. Oh, she'll be so tickled. And I will get Papa a motorcycle. Papa didn't want the motorcycle. One fun. Damn. And then the kids all will love me because I will get them all kinds of things. I will get them a sack of candy bars, everybody. Snicker bars and Hershey bars and Baby Ruth bars. Oh, they're going to love me. And I will even get a present for Miss Ferguson, my teacher. She would be so tickled. Now, he was not paying one bit of attention to what his mother told him about lions. This is going to be the trouble now, watch. Let me get this one right here. All right, look at him. See, he's going along. He's thinking about what I was going to do. Now, you have to give it to Sylvester. He's all hard. I hadn't heard him ask for a thing for himself. See, when you wash and dry for his mom and a motorcycle for his dad, sack of candy for each one of the kids. He didn't say anything about what he wanted for himself. He probably wanted a skateboard. See, and he didn't say that. And sure enough, all of a sudden, out of the bushes came a hungry lion. I mean, just right in front of him. And that lion was licking his chops, and he was just about to pounce on Sylvester, and Sylvester blew it. I really have sympathy for him. I'm bad to blow it sometimes. I can't think fast. And see, he didn't think fast. He could easily have said he was holding the magic apple, see? He could have said, I wish that lion would turn into a butterfly. Or I wish I was at home in the bed asleep. But you know what he said?
What did he say?
I wish I was a big old rock.
Oh no. This is a sad story.
It is, but it's going to get better. Just hold on. Now let's go 1, 2, 3. We're going to zap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Zap. And he turned into a rock. And wait a minute, I'm going to show you. And the lion was astonished. Look at me. I think that's where the word "duh" was invented. He went, "Duh." I thought I saw a mule here, and I was going to have my supper, but it ain't nothing but a big old rock. And there was Sylvester, a rock, up there in the woods by himself, by the creek. Now, how's he gonna get home?
Yeah, because look at that. He can't touch
No,
the pebble
he can't touch his pebble.
anymore.
Pebble fell right down there on the ground. When you're a
Oh.
rock, you can't move over and pick up a pebble. You just can't do nothing but just sit there.
Oh, no.
Now just wait. It's gonna get worse, but it'll get better now. Now his mom and dad's home. At his mama first, she got supper ready. She had told him to come on home, early in the afternoon after lunch. And she waited. She looked out the just like I used to do when my boys did get home. I could worry about it. And she looked at the kitchen clock. She looked at her wristwatch, had wristwatches back then, and kitchen clocks and things like that. She looked out the back door and she go to the front, look out the front door, and in a little while Daddy came home. Daddy said, "Well, where's Sylvester? Time to eat." They had lasagna for supper. He never missed that. She said, "I don't know where in the world that boy is. I am going to skin his hide when he gets home. I told him to come home early, and he has not. He's up there picking up rocks and all. He's forgotten the world he's in when he starts collecting pebbles. I'm just going to skin him. I'm never going to let him go. Well, I'm going to let him go, but it's going to be a long time before he goes back. I'm going to punish him good, and I'm going to make him scrub the bathtub, and I'm going to make him take the garbage out for a week. I'm going to get him good." But he didn't come home. Miss Duncan ate some lasagna, but it wasn't really good because he began to worry about him. See, worrying about him. We did that boy. Well, I want to tell you, he didn't come home that night. And the next morning, you talking about somebody that was having a hissy fit. His mama and daddy went down to the police station, and they said, "Our son is missing, and we're just in a terrible fix. We are worried to death about him." And the police, they got out and they started looking for him. And when I was looking for a picture, I bet you Scooter Mouse didn't put that picture in here. It was a bunch of dogs, and they were all going around smelling. And here they are, look at that. They put the dog patrol out, and them dogs was going around. See, they smelling and sniffing all over town. But there was no sign of Sylvester because nobody had any idea he was up there on the hill there, by that creek, turned into a stone with the magic pebble right down there by it. Now, this is a sad part, because see that picture of the mom and dad, I think that's the church picture they had when the church director, look at it. See, they worried to death about him. He didn't come home, and Miss Duncan she couldn't knit no more, she was so upset. Miss Duncan was a lawyer, and he'd go down there and he'd just sit at the law office and not do nothing. They were worried to death. Look at here he is at home, he ain't even smoking his pipe anymore. Look, you can see when you do your brows up like that, you're worried. See, he's so distressed. The days went on, and look, there's Miss Duncan. She can't do nothing but just worried to death about that boy. Now, here we go. We're going back to Sylvester. See, nighttime came. See him there? There's his little stone. Miss Laura, put your finger on that little magic pebble there. See, nighttime came. He could hear the coyotes. Oh, he could hear the owls. Oh, 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 oh. And once in a while, he'd hear a jet way up in the sky. He was lonesome. He thinking about his bed at home with all of his stuff in there.
That's
He was wanting to go home. He was missing his mama. His mama smelled just like a gunpowder. He loved her. He's just worried to death about her. And it's not going to get bad, but good for a while. Now, wait, don't get upset. Don't cry. All right, now look, fall time came. So there he is. Still up there. Leaves falling down on him. Fall's always kind of a sad time for me, and he just said, "I met Mom and Papa. I want to see my mama and my papa." He was stuck there. See that? Winter time came. Now, I don't think being a rock, the winter time, the snow bothers you. You don't feel it, so I'm glad it wasn't cold.
Right.
But one night a big old wolf climbed up on top of him and howled. Oh, it was so lonely and cold. Now, wintertime came into spring, and Mr. and Miss Duncan were still distressed to death about where Sylvester was. Miss Dungy just kept watching and looking. She'd think any day he'd come home. And she done forgot about skinning him and fussing at him and all that. She said, Land, if he'd ever come home, she'd go hug the fire out of him. But he didn't come. And she was getting to be worse. She wasn't eating. Her clothes was hanging off of her. She's so thin. And Mr. Dungy's just letting his law practice go to the wind. They just wouldn't do it. It was terrible. So Mr. Dungy decided he gonna have to do something. He said, Ethel Lou was her name. He said, come on here, Ethel Lou, pack us a picnic lunch and let's go up there on the Oak Hill up there where Sylvester liked to hunt them rocks, and it'll make us feel better. She said, yes, I think it will. So she made a lot of alfalfa sandwiches, and then he made some oat sandwiches. That's what and they went up there. Now look, Sylvester was sleeping, and all of a sudden, now see, he can't move, he can't talk, nothing, he's rocked. But all of a sudden he heard two familiar voices, Papa and Mama. He said, and Mama and Papa. Oh, I wish I could tell them it's me. Oh, I just love Mama and Papa. I miss them so bad. If I ever get home, I ain't gonna think about motorcycles or nothing. I ain't gonna think about nothing but just Mama and Papa. Mama, Mr. Dungy said, now, there's Lou sit down over there on that big old rock. She's sitting on the Sylvester. She sat down on me and said, oh, Mama's big old soft piney side feels so good to me. Mama, I love you so. She's sitting right on it. Oh, he's putting up on the rug because she didn't want to get blistered across her nose. And then they sit down. Oh, y'all, this is the best part of it now. They sat down, they serving the picnic lunch on Sylvester. Oh, alfalfa sandwiches. Boy, what I wouldn't give for one of them. All of a sudden, his papa looked over and he saw that magic pebble on the ground. Pick it up, Mr. Duncan. He looked at it for a while, and then all of a sudden he leaned over and said, look here, Ethel Lou, ain't this pretty? Land, I wish old Sylvester was here. He'd be tickled over this. The thing looked like a marble. I tell you what, let's do. Let's take it home and put it up on the mantle to remind us about Sylvester. And look here, they put it on Sylvester. It was on him. It was on him. Tell him to wake up. Y'all say it. Wake up, Sylvester.
Wake up, Sylvester.
And well, he still had got, that boy ain't got a lick of sense. Anyway, he finally just saying randomly, he said, phew, I wish I was Sylvester again. And oh, he was so tickled, he turned into Sylvester. Look, his mama said, Lord have mercy, it's my baby. And his papa said, it's that old boy, Sylvester, I tell you. You had never heard, look at him. They just laughing, and his mama's about to hug the fire out of him. Look at me, just a crying. You cry when you happy like that.
That's
he
right.
Said, Mama, I'm so glad you see you and Papa. Listen, that was the best story in the world. They were so glad to see each other. They he hauled and kissed and hugged and squalled and carried on. They forgot all about eating alfalfa sandwiches
I
and
guess
old sandwiches.
so.
They don't want nothing to eat.
No.
And then when they got through, listen, they gathered up everything and they went home and they sat on Mama's new living room couch. Isn't that pretty? And they said, they hugged each other. They couldn't hardly get up off the couch and quit hugging each other. They so tickled. I don't think they ate no supper that night. And anyhow, Sylvester said, we are going to put that magic bubble in one of Grandma's mayonnaise jars. And we're going to put it up on the mountain. We are never going to use it no more. Because whenever you wish, you just wish on stuff. But whenever you wish most of all for somebody who loves you. And when you got family and somebody who loves you, then you got the best thing in the whole wide world. And that is the end of the story. Is that a good story?
That's a good story.
I love that story. I hope y'all enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And listen, you know, Scooter Mouse has some little rocks he painted. He calls them scooter stones.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some of those. So maybe sometime when we're giving treats away, we'll put a scooter stone in the sack.
Okay.
Don't forget, every once in a while, Miss Laura gets a bunch of fancy treats, and we can sit out there at the library. If you just drive by and smile, it costs a smile. All you have to have is a smile, and we'll give you a treat. We'll put it on Miss Laura's Facebook, okay? That was fine, wasn't it?
It was.
I knew you'd like that. Now, what was we gonna do? Oh, we was gonna do row, row, row your boat. We're gonna wind up.
That's
Now,
right.
you do it with us, okay? You start off and you sing with me, okay? You ready?
Okay, some of you sing with Miss Mattie and some of you
Okay.
sing with me.
Okay,
Ready?
we're gonna start, okay.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Row,
Merrily,
row,
merrily,
row
merrily,
your boat
merrily, life
gently
is
down
but
the
a
stream.
dream.
Merrily,
Row,
merrily,
row, row
merrily,
your boat
merrily,
gently
life is
down
but
the
a dream.
stream.
Row,
Merrily, merrily,
row, row
merrily,
your boat
merrily, life
gently
is
down
but
the
a
stream.
dream.
Merrily,
Row,
merrily,
row, row
merrily,
your boat.
merrily. If I fall in, I scream. Bye.
I thought it said life is buttercream.
Okay.
Bye.
Let's sing it together. And you finish yours and I'll finish mine. Okay. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Merrily, 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 life is buttercream.
And if I fall in, I scream. Bye.